Hello! Today we are going to do all the single legs, all the single leg bridging. So we're going to do single leg bridging instead of just the basic bridging. It's a little bit more intense. You're still going to be working your hamstrings and glutes and your leg strength, but you're going to go a little deeper into your deep hip rotators that will naturally fire just by doing a single leg bridge, right? So a couple of the things, it can get kind of intense. And I only want you to go at the height that you need to or the pace that you need to so that your back doesn't dominate this movement, right? You really want to keep your waist long and your pelvis level as we do this. So if it feels a little intense for you, just go back to episode 13 and start with basic bridging. And when you've got that down and you can keep everything level, then that's when you want to jump back into this. So you're going to need some floor space. So let's get down. You're going to rest on your back with your feet parallel in line with your sits bones, knees bent. So take a minute and just wiggle around. Get your ribs nice and heavy on the mat. Get your pelvis nice and heavy on the mat. Feel that you're not too tight in here. You want to feel like this is squishy and juicy in the hip joint here. So a couple of things before we get moving. I just want you to make sure that, again, we don't want to lead with our back. I want you to lead with your hip strength. So I want you to really, some of us, we have to actually think, okay, turn that on. In theory, we shouldn't have to. They should just turn on. But for me personally, it took me a while. I had to actively think, I'm going to turn these muscles on and push into my feet and use that to lift me up, right? So I had to be very mindful of it. So I'm looking for the pelvis to stay level. So imagine that you had a cup of coffee, a glass of wine, a cup of tea, whatever you want to put there. Really imagine that that's balanced between your navel, your pubic bone, and your two hip points. So this is staying level, right? I'm not trying to do that by leading from my low back. I'm not trying to lift there. I'm trying to lift from here, keep my belly pulling in, and keep this stable. So you might just lift to a bare hover off the mat, and that is fine. Again, we don't want to do the yoga bridging where we're really lifting our ribs either. We don't want to do that. So I want you to just take a second and wiggle around in your body and find your sacrum, right, your butt crack. Find a little length through your ribs, right, so of your ribs away from your pelvis. Find your ribs sinking into the mat and find your skull resting on the mat. You can use your arms pressing into the mat as you do this. Feet are parallel and in line with your sits bones. And you really want to make sure that your knees don't start to go out to the side, but that they really stay parallel. So you can imagine you're hugging a book between your legs or a pillow between your legs as you do this. We're going to breathe in. As you exhale, draw the belly in, press into the feet, start to lift the pelvis up, only as much as you can keep the pelvis level. And we're just going to test the waters a little bit. So we're going to press into the right foot and lift just the left heel up. Did you keep the pelvis level? Did your back start to overwork? Did the waist shift in its length, or did it stay even in its length? Those are the questions you always want to be asking yourself. Then you're going to see, can you bring the left knee over your left hip? How did you do? How's the pelvis? How's the back? How's the waist? Lower that foot down. Try the other side. Lift the right heel up. Test the waters. Lift the right knee over the right hip. And lower down. Try it again. Right foot presses down. You could even pull the mat under you with your foot. So you see, if I pull, my whole body gets a little traction. Lift the left heel, left knee over hip, tabletop position, belly pulled in. Lower that leg down. Breathing in. Exhale, little belly. Teacup is balanced. Leg is active. Back is stable but not overworking. My waist is long. Right knee. And lower down. One more time, just testing the waters here. Pressing into your right foot, the left heel. This might be just what you do, the heel lift. That might be all you do today. Left knee. Sorry. Left knee lifts and lower down. Other side, pressing into the left foot. Right heel. See how you did. Keep everything level and long. Lift the right knee over the right hip. I'm starting to sink on that side. I can feel it. And lower down. You're going to take a minute, lower all the way down. Just take a big breath in. Maybe you wiggle a little bit more, you shake it out. You're going to exhale, find your center, and then we're going to add on a little bit more. So you're going to press into your feet, Cue up those leg muscles. Come up to your height of your bridge. You're going to float the right knee over the right hip. You're going to stay there and you're going to work through this left hamstring into glute. So you're working from your hip, not leading from your back. So you don't want to lead from your ribs and your back. You want to lead from your glutes and your hamstrings. And your deep hip rotators are working to keep your pelvis level. So I can lift my head and I can see my right hip is a little lower. So I'm going to tune in these little muscles here to keep it level. Lengthening my waist, and then we're going to do little pulses, pressing my arms into the mat to help, and lifting for 10, and pulse 9, and 8, and 7, and 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Plant the right foot down. Take a second. See if you can keep the legs active. Keep it level. We're going to go for the other side. Lift the left knee up. Take a peek. Check in. Is everything level? Draw the belly back. Make sure your back's not working too more. Really ask your leg to work here. Find the foot in the ground, right? That's how you're going to propel yourself up. And we're going to do 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Just little pulses. 4, 3, 2, 1. Plant the left foot down and slowly melt your spine all the way down on the ground. And you can relax. You could do a little knee sway. You can do whatever stretches you need. And come back up to sitting or standing. This exercise is amazing, not only for building strength and pelvic and hip balance, but also pelvic stability. So when you're climbing stairs, going for a hike, even just walking, that you really have this power of your hips underneath you and you're not leading from all these back muscles, right? So you really got this groundedness to hold you there and to lift and lower you. Also, you might have found that one side you were shaking on and was really weak, and the other side you're like, oh, this is okay, I can do this. So if you have a significantly weaker side than a stronger side, I would recommend doing weak side, do the strong side, and then go back and do the weak side. And remember, always go at your own pace, right? You don't want to go into this place where it's becoming an issue for your back to do this. You really want to build the leg and the hip strength. It has been so amazing to share this exercise with you. If it's helping you, please feel free to share it with your friends and family. Thank you so much for joining me, and until next time, keep moving.